Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a Faction Wars guide for one of the toughest factions in the game to finish for Faction Wars, in my opinion. I will go over the grades of every single dwarf. I will also show you a full infographic of the team that I used to 3-star stage 21, and then at the end I will show you the actual live run of me doing the 3-star live on stream. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, let's go ahead and pop up the team that I use, and then you will see in action later in the video. On the far right, most notably, you'll notice that the finish difficulty is cranked up all the way to the red hard side. Dwarves. Whenever I've done a poll, like on my channel, on stream or whatever, the viewers always vote that Dwarves is their toughest faction to finish because the boss is so insane. It's that boss. If you didn't know, there's a bunch of different bosses, red, yellow, purple, and they all have different abilities. In my videos, in my Faction Wars videos, I link down below to a forum post that covers them all. But basically, Dwarf Stage 21 is the boss that ignores all defense and just one-shots you with its A1. So you've really got to be careful when going into stage 21 with the dwarves. You've got to build as much HP as you can. You can see here my average HP is 70,000, which is pretty high. Now Mountain King does really skew that because you can see my Mountain King down there. I've got all the stats towards the bottom. My Mountain King's at like 134,000 or so. The numbers are small. I can't really see him when I'm recording, but yeah, he's got over 100k HP, lots of HP, so he skews that. You're gonna want your average HP to be as high as you can get it, and defense, unfortunately, is kind of a wasted stat when you're going up against the boss. He just ignores all defense and one-shots you, so it's really hard. The nice thing is that at the time of me recording this video, within the last week or so, they have made Faction Wars a little bit easier, so it's going to be about 10 or 15% easier now than it was back when I 3-started, and it does feel significant. It is definitely significantly easier because this team right here would not have 3-started before they made it a little bit easier. I would have had to get that average HP up a little bit higher, and I would have had to probably put in a rear guard sergeant and really mix some things around, probably rear guard instead of Trunda, and that's probably the sub I would have made. And then I would have had to kind of swap more gear around and really unlock the maximum power of my account to get as much HP as I could. With this was the team that I was using to speed farm stage 20, I think. And when they nerfed Faction Wars, I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and try my normal team on the last stage and see if it works now. And it did. Now, admittedly, this team is not a 100% 3-star rate. I'm thinking it's about 30 or 40% in terms of times that it'll finish with a 3-star. So definitely on this boss, there is a little bit of RNG because he tends to target the champion that he fears. So it can really mess up how he goes about targeting who you've got. So it's hard to direct his damage. So you're going to probably have to sit here and kind of manual it, watch over it, and if it's going bad, leave and retry. You'll be able to tell if you're getting close or not, but it's definitely, I know my good friend Jay Giggs said that doing Dwarf 21 is the hardest thing he's ever done in Raid, and a lot of people agree. For me, it was probably tied with finishing Knight Revenant 21 and also Skinwalkers 19, 20, 21. Skinwalkers was all hard for me because I don't have No-Rog. If you don't have No-Rog or War Chief, it's even harder. So I think they're all three really hard in their own right. Dwarf, Knight Rev, and Skinwalkers. They're definitely a cut above the others in my opinion. The Undead can be hard too because they've got the same boss as the Dwarves. But sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. Let me actually walk you through the team. Gala is the leader, and she is the aura that I'm using. Really, the only concern for me when I was farming it was, because I know a lot of you are going to say, why aren't you using Tormund's defense aura? But the boss ignores defense, and the boss is really my only sticking point, so I mean, it was basically worthless. So I just went with the attack aura of the Gala. And Gala's cool because she's a damage dealer, but she's got a lot of built-in inherent sustain. So she's definitely a good candidate as a void affinity damage dealer. Tormund, he's an interesting one because he's really good on the waves, and something people don't consider about Tormund a lot, or I don't hear people talk about it a lot, is he's actually got a self revive. So if you've got his HP a little bit lower because he's a really defensive champion, and you can get the boss to target the Tormund, if the boss kills the Tormund, you've got that baked in self revive to buy you a few turns. So that can be kind of handy. It's a nice thing that Tormund kind of brings as a tank utility in soaking up damage and then getting revived and not needing someone else to revive him once he dies. Mountain King, great in a shield set. Not as great in the boss because the shield's only going to last for 3 turns. So if you're fighting the boss for 10, 12 turns, the shield set's not getting you a ton of value after that first kind of wave. So you're going to have to, mix and match the gear a little bit. And you could argue maybe the shield set's not the optimal route to go for Mountain King outside of the arena. But I basically took my Arena Mountain King. He had really good gear on. I put him in here and it worked out. Molly is a really, really good champion for this because odds are you're probably going to lose one person, if not multiple people, even if you've got a really good team. Molly being there to pick up and revive. That's why I put her in a reflex set, because I wanted to be able to cycle through to my revive as soon as possible. So went with the reflex to cycle through cooldowns. And then Trunda. My Trunda is not booked. This is a Trunda that I put in Lifesteal and Cruel and built her kind of similar to Gala, just to be a damage dealer for me and have some self-sustain baked in. So this boss also on stage 21 is kind of a glass cannon. Like, you can burst it down. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to kill it. It doesn't have any ads or anything. The problem is it just hits you so hard with its A1 and ignores all defense. Makes it so tough. But that's kind of the walkthrough of my team. And I'll show you the masteries before I put that away, because I know a lot of you have been giving me feedback that you want to see the masteries. So we'll start with Tormund and work our way down. Masteries, I've got him in the stun set. Fearsome Presence is great. I just kind of took my Arena Tormund. He has really good gear and a good setup. So this is probably not super optimal for Faction Wars. You may want to do it a little bit differently. If you're not wearing the stun set, you're probably not going to want to go Fearsome Presence. You would build it a little bit different. So keep that in mind. This is kind of my Arena Tormund setup. Mountain King, I did kind of switch him to be a bulwark to help tank in going up against the boss, and it can be good in the arena as well because he's really a damage soaker. So this should be a pretty decent general utility tank setup for Mountain King here. Then let's go ahead and slide on down to Molly. We've got Molly right here, and these are the masteries. This is not super optimal for Faction Wars. You probably don't need Eagle Eye in Faction Wars unless you're not wearing like an accuracy banner or something and you're struggling with the waves. But again, this should be a pretty generally useful setup for Molly. And then let's go into Trunda. I've got my Arena Trunda, and then I've got, this is the one in Savage, and that's actually booked. That's the one I used in Arena, and then this is the one that's not booked that I used in Faction Wars, and I put in Lifesteal to build a little bit differently. And then here is the Masteries that I went with on that. You can also make an argument for Helm Smasher, but if you've got really good gear and stuff like that, I like the consistency of the crit damage. So that is that. And lastly, we will go over Gala here, who is a Void Epic, and here is the Masteries that I put on her. Now, War Master is probably not the best route. You probably can't see it here. Let me pull up the invisibility cloak. You can make a case. It's not bad against the boss. I think that's why I wanted to try that. And I think there was also a build I was doing to try to use her as like some sort of just to test how good she does in the clan boss. But again, with these damage dealers, a lot of them, you can make a case for Helm Smasher and crit damage. It kind of changes on what you're needing and what you want to test them in, but I know you guys like to see the masteries, so I want to take a second to show them really quick. And now let's talk about the grades. I've got the infographic here that shows the dwarves. One nice thing I want to touch on is Veer the Alchemage. That's a really big addition to the dwarf faction because it's a rare champion that you could probably argue is a 9 or a 10. Really endgame viable, a super good cheaper option in being a rare that can really slide into most dwarves team and do very well. So that was a good addition to the game. Then I mean, you've got a lot of really good champions, Molly, Trunda, Mountain King, Tormund, Rearguard, Jarl, Gala, lots of good champions. The dwarves, not like the problem with the dwarves faction wars and finishing is not the champions. They're pretty solid. It's just that boss. That boss is crazy. So and then I'm just noticing live here, I have no idea why Runic Warder, why the like sorting system glitched and put him down there at the bottom, even though he's number 4. It sorted them all the other ones correctly. So that's a little bit weird, but yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why that's down there. I didn't notice that until now, but yeah, pretty solid champions with the dwarves. It's just that boss is really hard and kind of wonky to build around. You just need to stack a bunch of HP And as long as you can deal with the waves, you're gonna have to manual it, play it a few times to get good RNG, and eventually you'll be able to take it down. And then, like I said earlier, at least they have made it a little bit easier now. I think Dwarves and like Night Revenant and Skinwalkers are 3 that needed to become easier. The other ones you could argue, you know, they were tough, but maybe not like unfairly tough. But those 3, Dwarves, Skinwalkers, and Night Rev, I definitely agree could have used some love. So in terms of that, let me know what you guys think. I really enjoy reading input on all these types of things that I discuss in videos, so I can learn from you as well. But now I'm gonna go ahead and jump into that footage of me 3-starring the Dwarves, so you can see kind of a live example of what 3-starring that stage would look like. So yeah, if you want to see that, go ahead and stick around, and I will go and take off right now. So thanks, have a good one, peace. Damn it, Senti. Guys, it's way easier now. The fact that I didn't even min-max my team and they almost 3-starred Dwarves. They were within like a sliver. It used to be so much harder. They definitely nerfed this boss. Yo, I'm Savage. How you doing? Oh, nice. Foley's a good one. Very cool. Another girl, Gawa. All right, now here we go. Here we go. This boss doesn't have a whole lot of toughness, but the glass cannon. The shield set helps buy you a little bit of time, but it's kind of a rear guard would probably help. Yeah, so he takes down Trunda for sure. Which is fine, because she gets revived. And then we get a stun, and he'll hit Gala. Yep, okay. So he prioritizes who he fears. Right there, neither were feared, so then you gotta hope. And I don't know if Molly can cycle through. But then the problem is hit Tormund. Yep, so Tormund got feared. Oh, but he gets another turn so fast. Tormund revives. Now can they burst it down? Oh my gosh, it's gonna be close. They did it. It was fun as always.